Google is the world's most popular internet search engine, but the way it operates has become a source of much debate, and a new European Union decision has cast the spotlight on Google more than ever before. The EU's new ruling that allows people to be forgotten from their search engine has triggered 50,000 requests in the past month, with a series of high-profile examples now starting to emerge. The latest relates to a 2007 blog post by the BBC's economics editor Robert Peston, in which he wrote about the problems at the American investment bank Merrill Lynch as the global financial crisis took hold. On Wednesday, however, Peston received notification that 7 years after it went online and following an anonymous request, the story would no longer appear in Google's search results. Dr. Paul Burnell is an internet privacy expert from the University of East Anglia. He says it's hard to interpret Google's actions.
Google are overcompensating and are overreacting and are interpreting the ruling more broadly than the court intended. That is, they're censoring things that they shouldn't censor. I think that's the most likely thing, and the question then is, why are they doing that? And there are two possible answers to that. The first is they're doing it because it's easier to do so. That is, it's easier just to accept the request and when the request is made and get rid of the link. But the second, I think, is more worrying and more likely, which is that they're doing this and then telling these high-profile journalists that they've done this in order to attempt to undermine the ruling of the ECJ.
The new EU ruling means that people can ask Google to be forgotten from their search engine on the grounds that material concerning them is inadequate, irrelevant, or no longer relevant. It's a ruling that appears to be as subjective in practice as it is in theory. Robert Peston argues that his article about a bank widely seen as having played an important role in the worst financial crisis in living memory should remain available to the public. Google, however, appear not as convinced and have removed it. Similarly, other major British news outlets are being targeted. The Guardian and Daily Mail have had a number of articles removed from the search engine. Critics are calling this another major blow to free and uncensored journalism. Jim Killock is the executive director of Open Rights Group, an organisation that aims to tackle issues of censorship and surveillance in the digital era.
If Google really think that these articles are not in the public interest, and are genuinely irrelevant and excessive, and therefore, should be removed as according to the judgment that was made, then I think they're just simply mistaken. But I have to say, it smacks more of Google behaving in a very strict fashion in order to alert people to what has happened in Europe, and I don't think that's reasonable. They should be trying to enforce the law. They shouldn't be trying to remove material that doesn't fall within those criteria. I mean, it just does not seem reasonable that articles about corruption and fraud should be removed on the basis that they're in some way irrelevant.
Google is without doubt the world's most powerful search engine. They have also made huge advances in offering language translation programs, and there is continued interest in Google Glass, glasses that add real-time annotations to the world around you. But when does an internet search engine stop being an archive and turn into a censor? Internet privacy expert Dr. Paul Burnell thinks it's hard for Google to be trusted by the masses.
It's quite difficult for Google at the moment. They have the old idea that you can make money without doing evil that they had in their original mission statement. And they like to see themselves as being the good guys. But yet people also do see Google as creepy. They do see things like Google Glass as being deeply invasive things, and they've only just been released in the UK, but in the US there are many places that won't let people wear Google Glass if they go into bars and cafes and restaurants and so on. And I know I saw one person wearing Google Glass in King's Cross Station, and everybody was avoiding them.
If Google are now forced to censor or select what does or does not appear on search results, there will clearly be a fine line between those who claim rights to freedom of information and those who do not. Controversially, the decision to remove an article from Google is now determined by the company itself, meaning that something as subjective as what is of public interest has fallen out of the hands of journalists. Journalists who largely aim to adhere to their own code of editorial integrity and not a set of EU guidelines.